well, I just had a Mormon on my show, Jacob Hansen, who one of the key things that he likes to emphasize, he doesn't usually speak to atheists. This is quite funny. I saw him recently, and he says he doesn't usually speak to atheists because there are so many like metaphysical assumptions you have to make. If you want to talk about Mormonism, you already sound absolutely mental. If you're talking to someone who doesn't even already believe in like angels and God and stuff, you're not going to move an inch. But he's like, I always talk to Christians because they do believe in angels and revelation and prophets and all this kind of stuff. And he can kind of like hold up a mirror to these Christians because they look at him and be like, oh yeah, so like, God spoke to some dude in upstate New York through some like golden plates that like no one's ever seen, and he's like, yeah, well, how many witnesses do you have to the resurrection that left any accounts?
Right.
Like, we've got more eyewitness testimony to the golden plates than you've got to the resurrection, And it's this like, obviously I can look at this and think both of them are, not quite hitting the mark.
Right.
But his big gripe is like, I don't mind people saying that we don't have enough evidence or you're not convinced or whatever, but as a Christian, you can't switch that off when it comes to analyzing your own faith. And it does sound absurd to be like, oh, there was a prophet in New York, was there? But we've only just got used to the idea that religion comes from, that it comes from the Middle East. The whole reason why Jesus is born of Nazareth is like a lowly origin. They even say in the Gospels, is he the guy from Nazareth? What good comes from Nazareth? We're just used to it now. But at the time, that would have sounded about as crackpot as saying, this guy in upstate New York, yeah, he's found some golden plates and they're buried under the ground. And so I do find like, I've talked about Mormonism a lot recently because I do find it holds up this interesting mirror to Christian apologetics. It's like, this is kind of how you sound, guys.
It's not any crazier. It's just less familiar. It's just less familiar than these things that we believe so wholeheartedly. But at the time, I mean, you can't see it. When you're in it, you can't see it. When Peter talks about, when Jesus is asking him if he's going to leave, and he's like, well, where else would I go?
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what am I going to do? Become an atheist? Become non-religious? Become a different religion? It's just like, even if I'm not sure about this, I'm sure that Jesus is good for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure that these ideas are good for me, and this idea of believing in resurrection and like this, I can kind of just maintain this. That's where I was when I moved out here. That lasted such a short period of time because when I would stop and I would just think about it, I'd be like, yeah, but it's probably not true. And I started finding people who had been through similar things I could talk to about these things. When you believe this idea that you've got the truth and that this is the most essential truth, and it isn't just about your salvation, it's about your life. Like, your marriage is based on this commitment to Christ first.
Yeah.
Your kids and every decision that you make about them is based on this biblical understanding and this framework. You're going to throw that out. What are you going to do? What's going to happen to your marriage? What's going to happen to your kids? But then you start finding all these people who don't know what they think about it anymore, and they like still have solid marriages, and their kids are still good kids who are just trying the best that they can. And so I think that about 1 or 2 years into being out here, when I was kind of like, okay, I just don't believe this at all. I'm not going to call myself a Christian.